Shit,
All
we were
right.
time using this streaming platform, so I had to do a little bit of learning before we hopped on.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me, man. I had such a fun time last time that no, I'm glad we're able to chat again, talk about some fantasy, and yeah, get into some of these games.
Yeah, man, last week was dope. I like that people were getting, they're interacting with us and asking some questions, and I think it's something we should carry on too, because like obviously we talked a little trash last week about well, not trash really, but it's like opinions and stuff. I don't know, it's fun to roll them into this week's show and whatnot. How did you do last week? How'd your fantasy team do?
Well, I lost my Nerd Herd League. I won my fantasy football by Wolf Kohler matchup, and I won the most important one, the Money League. But the most important victory for me was the fact that I think about 99% of America said that the Broncos could not beat the Patriots. And let's just say I got a story to tell for you.
Yes, that was dope, man. That was, when winning the game, I was getting convinced the more the show went on, because you actually like gone into detail about like I guess what you thought that how they would do it and stuff like that, and then I was like, yeah, maybe they would, because Cam Newton is Patriots are kind of one dimensional with Cam Newton, but I think they'd actually pull it off. That was crazy.
I mean, listen, I look at a lot of factors when we talk about that particular game. Number one, I mean, you're talking about the Patriots who didn't have a lot of time to practice. Cam Newton was out for a couple of weeks with the coronavirus. We still don't even know what long-term effects the coronavirus have on, players, athletes, especially when you talk about the quarterback position, humans. I mean, you don't know how that impacts, a lot of people out there. And, I also take into consideration that you had, I believe, a lot of the offensive linemen playing for the first time together. So there's not that congeniality. But I will tell you this. Do not underestimate this Broncos defense. Remember, we took a Titans team that's 5-0, has one of the best offenses in the league, in my opinion, and held them to 16 points. Should have been 9 points if Melvin Gordon didn't freaking fumble on the red zone right there in the early part of the game. But that's history for another day. But what I'm trying to say is, Denver's defense is still a top defense. Offense could be a little questionable. I give you that. We're not going to win games just by kicking field goals, 6 field goals, if I remember correctly from last week. That's not the way to win, but nevertheless, it's a good momentum-building victory, and we definitely need that because we're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm gonna add one more person to this live stream as well too. Let me get him going. It's Sean. Hold on.
What's going on, Easy? How you been, man?
What up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Sean? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, Sean, this is Jordan. Jordan, so you got a couple podcasts, right? Or you just got the one?
So I've got the one, the Keeping It 100 podcast. We run that through Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, basically any particular streaming platform that you like to listen to podcasts to. Keeping It 100 is on there.
I like the name, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll definitely check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have
one other party.
My own podcast myself. I do some of the interviews on Instagram Live. My account's Sean_Kiernan. And I start off on like having my episodes out on Spotify and Anchor, stuff like that. But I'm more towards Instagram right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him going on YouTube because he's actually part of the Speakeasy team now.
Oh, welcome to the team, my friend.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here, man.
Yeah, man, we're like, right there at monetization is knocking on the door. So it's like, let's do it. Let's knock that bitch down.
Just got to keep knocking on the door, man. The opportunities will definitely come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean, how many fantasy teams you got?
So actually right now, I have 6 fantasy teams right now. So there's a lot of football for me to watch each and every week. So it's really hard because obviously owning teams, it's like you might be facing a guy that you have in another league. So it's like you're rooting for him, but then at the time you're like, oh, I hope you actually don't go off kind of at the same time. It's so weird,
It is weird. I'm kind of thankful that I took this like half a break this year with just doing like helping my buddy managing his team and just kind of focusing on the weeklies because like just so much less. There's not that, you know what I'm saying? The awkwardness of like, I want this guy to go for fucking exactly 13 points. You know what I'm saying? It's like instead of just fucking go off and just get me, secure me the dub. Are you on DraftKings at all, Sean?
What's up?
Do you play DraftKings or FanDuel at all? I think we talked about it before.
I never tried that before. What is that like?
Dude, it's a shit. It's every week. Every week you pick a new lineup. They give you a salary cap. They give you like $50,000, and then you pick throughout all the teams, or whatever games are. Obviously, you guys select through. But we did it last week. The whole group, everyone who was on the live stream from last week's show. I didn't finish in the top 5 even, but you get it. Yeah, where'd you end up last week?
I was so close. I was in 4th place.
4th place? There you go. You did better than me. I think I was in 8th. But no, yeah, you pick your whole team. So, like, you pick every single week a whole new roster. So, like, you don't deal with the injuries and bye weeks and shit like that. There's no excuses. And they pay your money out right away. You get it, like, as soon as, 12 o'clock hits, you get your money. There's no, like, awkward, like, hey, dude, can I get that $50 you owe me? Or you have to go beating up on your friends like fucking Brian Griffin from Family Guy. Or how sweet is Brian?
Where's my money, Brian?
Yeah, where's my money, Brian?
Sounds like fun.
Shit.
I gotta give it a shot soon. I definitely will.
Yeah, man. I think I put you in the group chat. I have to make sure. I'll find that link for you. I'll resend it and whatnot. So who's you guys like must starts this week? Who's a must start in fantasy this week?
So I'm going to go ahead and for must starts, I'm definitely starting both my quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Now I get it. Russell Wilson probably has the more difficult opponent because the Arizona Cardinals are playing pretty well at 4-2. But historically, Seattle always does well in Arizona. Now, when Arizona goes to Seattle, sometimes you get a little bit of, the upset factor from the Cardinals themselves. But I definitely expect I expect Russell Wilson to have a good game. I definitely expect Aaron Rodgers to play very well against the 1-5 Houston Texans team that just surrendered 40 points, last week. So definitely start those guys. And, I started Carson Wentz off a whim for my money league, and he did not disappoint whatsoever.
No, he didn't, man. And you want to?
It's a sore topic for Sean.
That's what he does, though. Carson Wentz against the Giants historically. The Giants make that any type of QB look like he's the best in the damn league. So, Carson Wentz was off to like a slow start in the first half. And then all of a sudden, in the second half, they make him look like he's Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady out there. No, that's just how it is. I came to the realistic point where I just expect that sort of thing. But to piggyback off of you with saying Russell Wilson is a key must-start, Aaron Rodgers, of course, I think you could throw in Josh Allen as well because he's going up against the Jets.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we all know that he's going to have a field day. At least he should have a field day. There's a problem if he doesn't to that point.
If the Jets get their first victory against the Buffalo Bills, who have already dropped 2 straight, I am writing off the Buffalo Bills right now. I'm just going to let you know.
And plus, apparently they had the Jets have Sam Darnold coming back. Apparently they were saying so. I'm telling you, man. If somehow the Jets make it even a close game, we have issues. If it's even a close game.
Well, maybe I don't want it a close game, and I guess I might be jumping ship here by going to sleepers, but I think Brashad Perriman could have a good game against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they don't have the best passing defense right now. I believe they are ranked, at least when I look at ESPN, they're only ranked like the 17th best. And, I look at a wide receiver like Brashad Perriman, and he could definitely get some easy targets because I look at the Buffalo Bills secondary. Yeah, they might have a few good corners here and there, but I would expect Brashad Perriman to get some easy targets.
No, I agree with that. I think they have their rookie Denzel Mims having his NFL debut tomorrow. He's on track for that, so he could be involved in that offense as well. So we'll see, because I know Jamison Crowder is actually doubtful for tomorrow. I've been hearing so for people that have him in fantasy, just be on the lookout for that. He might be leaning towards missing the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm in the group of people who had him in fantasy. He's been so like clutch this whole entire year. Then I think last week was his first week he didn't have over 20 points for me, which was like, and he shit the bed too. It wasn't even like he had like 10. It was a rough week for. I mean, it's my team, right? It's not my team, but it is. Like I'm still rooting for it and shit like that. So I say my team, but yeah, Jamison Crowder. So what's his rookie's name? You're starting for the Jets?
Denzel Mims.
Denzel Mims.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one to look out for then on the daily tip. On the daily fantasy stuff like that. Like he's probably really cheap right now. If Jamison Crowder's doubtful, I like that. See, fucking Sean, man. That's why I have him part of Speakeasy. This motherfucker knows so much shit.
Oh, he's definitely a better fantasy football expert for me. That's for sure.
Who's you guys must start at the running back position?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And listen. I say this as being a Broncos fan, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because he will definitely get, I believe, some open targets. The Denver defense, I think, will stand strong against Kansas City, but I know that one of our weaknesses right now is that running defense still. I mean, we don't have that particular run stopper yet, so I would recommend putting him as a must start.
What about you, Sean?
You know something? You bring up an excellent point with Clyde, of course. I look at here, this is crazy to even say this, I think, but like you see the Washington football team now. Their backfield's kind of, confusing right now with Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick now. But you have to remember, they're going up against a Cowboys defense which is worst in the league right now. So I feel like, I guess you would lean towards Gibson right now, right? In Washington, is that who they're leaning to as their starter, I believe?
I believe so, yeah.
I think he should be like a must start because I feel like Dallas is just, heads are spinning over there. They don't know what's going on. Worst defense in the league. Unfortunately, they're down to Andy Dolan being their starter for the rest of the year. And they just seem like they can't be clicking as a team, Dallas as a whole. I'll go with like Antonio Gibson, someone like that as like a must start.
We got our first question of the evening too. This is what kind of made last week so fun. Anthony Acosta asks, should I start David Johnson or Jamal Williams because Aaron Jones is hurt? You want to start that one, Jordan?
See, I look at I'm gonna go Jamal Williams because, and the reason why is, yes, the Packers had a very bad game against Tampa Bay, but I would say that's more of an aberration. When I consider the fact that, the Packers are going to go to Houston, they're going to mean serious business. I think that spells trouble for David Johnson particularly because, again, I just don't trust Houston right now. Yeah, they had a good game against Tennessee, but can I expect them to keep continuing on this run of scoring a lot of points? Can I continue to expect to see Deshaun Watson doing what he could do? I'm gonna be on the cautious mindset and start Jamal Williams.
And you want something, Jordan? I'm gonna go with you on this one and go with Jamal Williams because of the fact that whose defense do you really trust right now? And I am trusting Green Bay because I believe they have I think both Smith bros playing, right? They're scheduled to play. I think I'm pretty sure that they're supposed to.
I'm not sure.
I am not sure on that.
I could look into it. Yeah, I'll find out. But go ahead.
Because if both of those guys are back for Green Bay's defense, you won't see that type of performance that you saw last week against Tampa Bay for sure. So at the end of the day, I think that I feel a lot more comfortable with Green Bay's defense. So yeah, I think Jamal Williams will be a factor for sure.
And by the way, let's be completely honest. Does anybody trust Houston's defense? I mean, listen, I love J.J. Watt. I think, it's unfortunate that his window is closing and that he has had to ride with such a bad organization that he couldn't get him a Super Bowl championship. But I don't trust this Houston defense. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a field day. Jamal Williams will definitely get some opportunities. So I would start Williams. He is going to do very well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the Williams camp too, just because the glimpse that we seen of him this season, I believe, was the Falcons game, if I'm not mistaken. He was taking some snaps away from Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones, the guy that we have on our team, and he looked really good. They kept talking about him on the national broadcast, showing him dancing on the first down or dancing before the game, and beforehand, like last year, I was looking at Jamal Williams as like more of a power back, but in that game, he did everything. He was running, he was catching balls out of the backfield. And the big point too that I probably mostly say is that Houston defense. Like they haven't been the Houston defense of old, where J.J. Watt was J.J. Swat and Jadeveon Clowney. They're not those guys anymore. So I would definitely probably go with the side of Aaron guy who's going to get him in that red zone, having Aaron Rodgers, and for sure, Jamal Williams. But David Johnson, I mean, he's not bad too. Who are they playing actually? Oh no, they're playing each other.
Yep. Packers versus Texans.
Yeah. Oh, we got another question too. Let's see what this one is. So if Aaron Jones out, would you start A.J. Dillon over Antonio Gibson? So if Aaron Jones is out, would you start A.J. Dillon over Antonio Gibson? Sean, I'm going to go with you on that one because I'll have you start because I'm not even familiar with A.J. Dillon, to be honest with you.
Okay, so A.J. Dillon as of right now, if Aaron Jones is definitely out, A.J. Dillon's obviously the second RB on the Packers depth chart in that scenario. So yes, A.J. Dillon, he might get a heavy workload in that case, but I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson because, once again, they're going up against a Cowboys defense who has the worst defense in the whole entire league. I feel a lot more comfortable with Antonio Gibson. And you saw Washington already, how they were able, to run the football against, the Giants. They had it, Gibson had some good carries against the Giants. So I know that's not saying much, but you have to remember who's their opponent tomorrow. So I think Gibson is due for a huge game.
And I would have to agree with you, Sean. I'm really going to go with Antonio Gibson on this because when we think about A.J. Dillon, he is the second running back, so he's not going to be used as much as Jamal Williams, going back to that previous question. And with Antonio Gibson, not only can he be the typical running back for you, but he could make some catches out there. And if there's anything we need to talk about with the Cowboys' pass defense, it's just freaking awful right now. They literally cannot stop anybody right now. They got absolutely destroyed by Kyler Murray. They got almost destroyed by the New York Giants. Remember, the Giants put up 34 points on this team when they couldn't even get close to 15 in some of these games. So if you want to talk to me about who's going to have a field day, I would predict more that Antonio Gibson is going to be that particular player.
Yeah, I'd probably go Gibson just because of that Cowboys defense situation. The other thing with A.J. Dillon is he's competing with snaps with Jamal Williams, who we were just talking about. So because he's in Green Bay. Yeah, and Jamal Williams, like I said, he looked good. He looked good. The snaps he got, he's an experienced guy. Last year, actually, he was a great guy to have if you had Aaron Jones because hand in hand, both those guys were having good games. It was insane, So yeah, I'd probably go Antonio Gibson that one. Let's see. He said, "Thank you, appreciate it." Who's some guys you guys are thinking we sit this week? Like, who's someone you're like just staying away from, regardless of name and matchup, even?
I'm going to go ahead and I am actually sitting. I think I'm going to go ahead and so I normally would use James White kind of like an emergency, like running back, like if you have a flex option. I am sitting him just because of the 49ers. Listen, they got absolutely destroyed by Miami, their defense, but they took care of business against the Rams at home. And I just don't really trust this New England team right now, considering that they may have another week of practice, and I do expect them to win this game. But I think it's going to be one of those more close defense games, especially because, we don't know where Cam Newton is at currently. Is he going to be 100% this game? Is he going to take another step back or another step forward? That's very much an uncertainty. So I'm sitting James White.
This week, I'm going to sit Cooper Kupp. And the reason behind that is because you saw on Sunday Night Football against the Niners how the majority of the targets went to Robert Woods. Like, you can say that he's clearly the number one receiver in that offense right now. And, I look at the way they were trying to target Cooper Kupp. It was just like they weren't really getting him involved in the offense that game. So, I feel like he had a really down game, and he was projected to do really well. And obviously he didn't. Now, they're playing a much harder defense in the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. So that makes me wonder, I think that his value might be just about what he got against the Niners. And I hope I'm completely wrong because I have him in fantasy. So, but that's just a sit option for me. I think I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, the team I'm helping manage right now is Cooper Kupp too, and it's like I think what I've realized about him throughout the season is he's one of those guys who are only gonna be super productive with you if there's other pieces around him. Like when the Rams were hot, they had Gurley. I think they still had Robert Woods back then too. They also had Brandon Cooks. They had all these pieces on offense that helped them go. He was more freely. He got open a lot more, and it was a lot more productive. Now that he's kind of, I don't know if he's the main guy anymore because, like you said, Robert Woods looked great, but this is not the same guy this year. I don't know what it is. If it's injuries or like the fact that there's like he's defenses are more focused on him. I'm not so sure. We had someone from Facebook tap in. They said start Bernard this week over those scrubs. I believe he's referring to the Cleveland Browns as those scrubs. How do you guys feel about that statement? Giovanni Bernard making his way back to the fantasy rankings this week with against the Browns.
I don't trust. You want something? I don't trust Cincinnati's offensive line.
Yeah, that's the thing. I really don't trust anything out of Cincinnati at this particular point. Maybe Joe. I'm even sitting Joe Burrow this week. Cleveland, yes, they got absolutely beaten down by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that would tell a lot of people like you're going to have a field day against the Cleveland Browns, but. With this 4-2 Cleveland Browns team that is looking to make the playoffs, I just don't see them surrendering a lot of points again, especially to a Cincinnati Bengals offense that is going to be there at times and is not going to be there at times. And I believe that this is going to be one of those times that the Cincinnati Bengals offense is not going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree because now I think for Cleveland, this is actually a must-win game for them because with an extra even with an extra playoff spot this year, they still have to worry about two other teams in their division, obviously the Steelers and Ravens. And then you got to look at the wild card picture where you have to worry about the Raiders now as well. And obviously somehow the Dolphins who knows how much longer that's going to last for, but on paper as of right now, they're in the mix. So you got to worry about other teams too. So I think, Cleveland definitely needs this game and but for Bernard, but seriously, with that Cincinnati offensive line, I sat Joe Mixon so many times because I just can't trust that offensive line.
Yeah, I just pulled up some numbers. So because Cleveland and Cincinnati met in week 2 of this season, and they held Joe Mixon to just 46 yards rushing, which obviously I think people would say, consider Joe Mixon a better running back than Giovanni Bernard these days. No offense to Giovanni Bernard. He was solid back in his day, but I'm not so sure that I'm making that start. Not a guarantee. Maybe something if you're doing like daily fantasy, you might be cheaper on the cheaper end. Start them, but if you're playing like a regular league, I probably would avoid that one. Got another comment here though. So thoughts on OBJ the rest of the season? Oh, speaking of the Browns, should I hold or consider trading? You want to take that one, Jordan?
My question is, can we trust Baker Mayfield to actually get OBJ the ball? And that's not his fault. We look at Kevin Stefanski and, the way that they call plays nowadays, and they purposely try to target away from OBJ. And now listen, the Cincinnati Bengals defense is absolutely putrid. So I get the whole let's start OBJ because they are going up against the Cleveland Browns team, but tell me where specifically, besides one particular game this season, that OBJ has been worth it to start in any particular game.
Mm-hmm. And once again, Jordan, I'm going to agree with you here because, that's another, Cleveland's a confusing team offensively because obviously you look at Jarvis Landry too. It feels like Baker Mayfield likes Jarvis Landry a little more, obviously, it looks like right now. And he liked Austin Hooper before he got hurt. He's out. Now they turn to Njoku, obviously, and they looked for their other tight end on the depth chart too. So it makes you wonder exactly where does Odell fit in this offense. To be honest with you, I would actually consider trading him. Seriously, I don't, get what you can out of him. Seriously, that's the
I would agree. You probably want to trade him, but my thing is like how much value are you going to get from OBJ? And I just don't really see much of anything. Maybe you'll get a flex option out of it. Maybe you'll get a tight end or running back if you need it, like one of the more second, third tier tight ends or running backs. But OBJ just does not have a lot of value, and it's not because he's a terrible player. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the game. It's just he does not fit anywhere in this Cleveland Browns offense right now.
He just needs a quarterback. That's
Baker. I mean, granted, he was hurt last week, but I think throughout his career, granted, short career, right? But like, really haven't seen like much, I guess, to make you think, OBJ is worth holding, especially this year, especially him being hurt. And again, having Jarvis Landry as an option, and when Austin Hooper does return, and I mean, what is the situation with Chubb? Was he coming back this season?
Did they about like a week, possibly week 10? I think that. Okay. I think that was like somewhere around there. I think those were rumors.
Yeah. They also have like a real run-heavy like offense as well, especially when Chubb's in the lineup. So I think he's pretty safe to trade. Kind of like what Jordan said, though. I don't know what you're gonna get back from him. He's really like a pedestrian wide receiver fantasy-wise, but if he has a big name, so maybe you get one of those guys who like are big name fishing, or just don't know too much about fantasy, or I don't know. I've been trying to get rid of Tom Brady on this team forever, though, so maybe people aren't falling for it this year.
Who knows? Unless if you're really desperate, like you need a receiver, God forbid, if you're in that boat where like let's get Michael Thomas and you have Julio Jones, who was questionable multiple times prior to him coming back last week, and now especially with that Saints receiving core, I think they have Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders out. So if you're in that boat where you have receivers like that who are just hit or miss, you don't know if they're going to play. I guess that's where you go. That's when you decide to try to trade for OBJ, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of names to trade, I think that's when, personally, I mean, yeah, you guys might disagree. I think Mike Thomas might be a name to shop around too. Well, Drew Brees, his recent performances as of late at the quarterback position, and Emmanuel Sanders emerging in that offense, and they have another wide receiver too. I can't think of his name.
Wait. Remember, Emmanuel Sanders is positive for COVID.
Okay, so he's out at least 2 weeks, right? 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, no, I didn't even think that he was positive, but this was like breaking news yesterday that he got positive tested for coronavirus. So if you want, I would say let's back up. Let's back up. He's not on the trading block yet, because you're definitely going to need somebody out there if you're Drew Brees and you're trying to be the quarterback.
Good save there. Yeah. Well, then maybe hold on to Michael Thomas. We got another question here. Let's see. Over Dylan or over Gibson? Is he referring to a question maybe we answered earlier? Over Dylan or Gibson? Is he asking? I'm not sure what he's asking. Do you guys got that one, or
over Dylan or Gibson?
I feel like he's referring to like an earlier question, but I'm not sure which one.
Is he referring to like maybe OBJ start over those guys, or what is he trying to ask?
So as a Facebook user, the other Facebook user comment was start Bernard this week over those scrubs. Maybe that's what he was referring to. I'm not so sure.
I don't know. Well, Bernard over Dylan. See, I don't know if you want to do that over. I wouldn't. I would say this. It's very Bernard versus Gibson is definitely a. I would still say Gibson just because of how bad the Cowboys defense is. Listen, the Browns defense, they could get you they could play something good, some weeks they could play bad some weeks, but we all know the consistency with the Cowboys defense is that they're terrible. So at least they're consistent at something.
Yeah, I'm not so sure where he was going with that question too. Then, I'm about to pull up some of the injuries this week, being that Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, for the big because I did not know that Michael Thomas is out. That's huge. One name of a guy who's been injured that I probably look to shop for, if you can't get on at a discounted price, is CMC, Christian McCaffrey. I just had a look at his schedule and some pretty easy defenses the rest of the way through. And I mean, that's playoff time for fantasy. So that's a great time. That's a great time to try to make a trade for him. But then again, I don't know the situation with Mike Davis over there too. He's kind of emerged.
It's gonna be interesting over there in Carolina, because I think they have C-Mac projected to come back for Thursday Night Football next week against Atlanta. They want him to stay away from playing the Saints this week, so then he's not on a short rest, heading into the following week on Thursday. So I think that's why they're staying away from C-Mac this week. Stick with Mike Davis, who's been playing really well for them. But it's gonna here's the thing though with C-Mac, once he comes back, you can't take Mike Davis completely out of the equation. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to somewhat have split carries in a way, because Mike Davis has been really effective for you, and you need 2 running backs in this league. But from a fantasy standpoint, it's gonna be really hard. I'm gonna tell you that. It's gonna be. I have Mike Davis too in one of my 6 leagues, so it's gonna be really hard whether or not I'm still rolling out with Mike Davis or not moving down the line.
Well, Sean, to piggyback off your point, I mean, not only the fact that you're going to split carries because of how well Mike Davis is doing, but you don't want to re-aggravate that injury if you're Christian McCaffrey or if you're the Carolina Panthers. You want to make sure, if for some miracle you get into the wild card, that you have him saved up for the playoffs. So, and you also want to make sure that, for the years to come, because I believe Christian McCaffrey just signed a huge extension. So you want to make sure that he can actually live up to his contract. I would definitely say this. Mike Davis, do not let him go. If you have to put him on the bench somewhere, definitely do that. But when Christian McCaffrey comes back, it's not as if, he's going to be the end-all, be-all takeover running back for the Panthers. I definitely expect a split shifts, as you were saying, Sean.
Yeah, you know what? I should have brought this up earlier in the show too. What are you guys' takes on Antonio Brown making his return to the NFL here?
I will say this. Let's start off with this. I'm glad first and foremost that Antonio Brown is able to come back to the league, because he had a very bad ending in Pittsburgh. He had a very bad ending in Oakland. He had a very bad ending with the New England Patriots. And, you could say that he has had all the chances that he could potentially get. But in my opinion, I think he's learned a lot, especially from his year off of football. And he's definitely still a productive wide receiver. If he's back, maybe he can't go back to what he was, in his heyday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you can get at least 85, 90%, that is still very dangerous for a Tampa Bay offense that already has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So if you're Tom Brady, you're just looking at this whole situation like this is probably the best wide receiving core I have ever had in my life. Sans the times that you had Randy Moss.
Here, I'll start off by saying this. How times have changed in Tampa Bay, because I'm sure you both remember this before the season even started. Yes, there was reported interest at first, but then Bruce Arians eventually came out saying that we have no interest in him at the moment. Now, fast forward all the way to week 7 now, you end up signing the guy, and now basically I think it's unfinished business with Tom Brady, of course. Obviously, it didn't work out in New England, like you mentioned, Jordan. And I think AB really wants that ring with Brady. And I think Brady wants that as well. And now you have to remember this too, because it's just wait and see if AB even steps on the field. We have to remember that too. Who knows where he's at right now mentally? You never know with this guy, because we've seen a lot of clown acts from him previously. So you don't know if he ends up losing his mind once again. So it's kind of like a wait and see for me. And also that already, when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback, and no matter Bruce Arians doesn't really like AB, let's just say maybe he's not too happy about that. But at the end of the day, you got the GOAT QB, and you got and whoever he wants. It's that simple. Like if he says I want AB, you got to tell the GM, you got to be like, you want something? We got to go out and get this guy. That's what it comes down to, really. The
way Tom Brady's playing this season, it's more like I need AB. It's not been a pretty year for the some people's GOAT. No disrespect to him. Does that increase Tom Brady's fantasy value this year? Now he's got another weapon like AB, and does it hurt a guy like Mike Evans?
I would say that it does slightly hurt Mike Evans, but I still think he's the number one guy. So, Tom Brady is definitely still going to target Mike Evans a lot more. When we consider Antonio Brown, remember, he's probably going to have to be, tested right here. So it's not like Antonio Brown's going to take all the starts, in the first game when he comes back. He's going to be, eventually building up to have that particular top spot, or at least one of the top spots in a Tom Brady-led offense. And then with Tom Brady, when you get that extra security blanket in Antonio Brown, I think it does increase his value because that now you have spread out the defense even more, in my opinion. And when we look in towards the seasons, I mean, has the the Buccaneers even played the Falcons yet?
No.
Yeah, and so
No.
you look at those
that's a fancy day to eat.
You have to look at those particular games, and Tom Brady is absolutely going to destroy the Falcons because they don't even have a defense right now.
Yeah, I think actually that it would have helped Tom Brady because Antonio Brown's. I mean, he could do everything, right? So it gives Tom Brady another like short route guy to throw to, other than Godwin over there. And I mean, that's what he's kind of known for, right? Coming from New England as of late, he's not really ripping the ball down the field like he used to or like he ever did. So yeah, I think that definitely increased Tom Brady's fantasy value for sure. Sorry guys, I'm reading some comments here. We got one right now. Mini Ep or Mine Ep. Hey, do you think I should start Juju or nah? We're playing Tennessee? Ooh.
I would start him. I would start him because Tennessee's defense is, not the worst, but it's not the best. They did give up 36 points to a Deshaun Watson Houston-led Texans who are 1-5. And Big Ben, you've got a few weapons in there with Chase Claypool that can help spread out the field. James Conner, who's a good running back. I would start Juju.
Yeah, once again, Jordan, I'm agreeing with you, man. No, because if you really I'm looking at Pittsburgh just as a team in general, and I really like them this year. Like a lot of people were sleeping on them before the season even started. They didn't think that they were going to be even in the playoff picture. A lot of people were saying, and you look at this offense, and I'm like, yeah, I think Juju is a must start overall. Like no matter who they're playing, I think he's a must start really because I think Pittsburgh is that good this year, and it's like you said with Claypool. Claypool just about came out of nowhere at one point as a rookie. Now he's like overall like their number 2 guy. And who knows what could happen. I think they have who else is returned for them? Is Deontay Johnson? I think Deontay Johnson might be coming back for them, right?
Yeah, I think Deontay Johnson. I'll double check right now for you.
Yeah, because I think he might be coming back for them too. But yeah, like you said, with Tennessee's defense, they're hit or miss. You don't know. One week they could look like, oh yeah, they played really good against Buffalo. They handled Buffalo perfectly fine. Then the next, and obviously the following week, look what they did against Deshaun Watson, like you said. So it's like, it's inconsistency from them. So now they're facing another legit team in Pittsburgh. But I think Juju and that Pittsburgh offense will actually have a pretty good day overall.
Yeah, I think it's going to be I would say this. I think it's going to be a very contested game. It's going to be one of the best games out there tomorrow, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a very good scoring contest, no matter which way you look at it. I mean, you've got Pittsburgh that has probably the better, quarterback, probably the better weapons, but you've got the Derrick Henry over there on the other side. And I saw everything I needed to see, last week when he decided to drop over plus 200 yards against the Texans. So, yeah, don't sleep on him either.
Yeah, I'm looking at Juju's numbers as of late. They're not great. But I do like the point that guys like Chase Claypool are kind of opening up the field for him. Start Juju. I guess it really just depends what else you have. I'm not like super keen on like him being a for sure start if you have him, but I guess it depends. Like,
yeah,
who else you're looking at? I hate to say that. Yeah. If you can, come back and let us know who you're like picking through, because like I do like that Chase Claypool is coming to this offense and he's opening things up, and then Deontay Johnson. Let me make sure that he's playing too. But yeah, looking at Juju's numbers as of late though, they're not that pretty. I think last week he even only had like 1 reception, and they blew out the Browns too. So like, maybe he would have had more, or I thought he would have had more. Was good. Another comment going while I looked that up, though. Mine up. Oh, he just doesn't know. Philly, the podcast says, what up?
Hey,
what up, though, Philly? We got Sean. He's a New York Giants fan. I don't know if he wants to say what back to you. He might stay quiet a little bit there.
Hey, I'm willing to say this. Congrats on winning the worst division in football. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, that division. Listen, Sean, and listen, Philly, the podcast. I'm going to say this right now. We are really talking about the NFC least here. And this is the worst division I have ever seen. I have seen some pretty bad NFC least division years beforehand.
Yes, it's definitely rough right now for sure. I'm not seeing any news on Deontay Johnson coming back or not, though. Huh. Yeah, if you coming back, man, let us know. Fly Eagles fly in the first place. Hey, it can happen, man. You never know what happens in the playoffs too. What seed was it Seattle like under 500 when they came into the playoffs and Marshawn Lynch
Yeah,
had the hold my nuts run?
yeah, the earthquake run, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, he became a star after that. It's so crazy they went on to win the Super Bowl eventually, like a couple years later too. I'm looking. So and while we're waiting too, I'll let me look at some injuries this week too. If anybody else is listening, if they're not paying attention, I'm sure you're paying attention to your teams. But start with the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable. Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. Julio Jones is always questionable. Yeah, how do you guys feel about that, man? Are you guys holding on to Julio for the rest of the season, or you trading him? When he's healthy, he's on, right? But he's rarely healthy nowadays. It's crazy.
I'm still holding on to hope that Julio Jones will turn out to be a fantastic player, especially when I go into the later weeks of the season. Yes, I understand that he's had some questionable injuries, and it's not just this year, but it's been some previous years past too. But I mean, I think when I really look at it, Matt Ryan is motivated to, prove to a lot of Atlanta fans that he is still the guy over there. I mean, a lot of people don't like Matt Ryan, including, as I had mentioned before last week, T.I. essentially saying on Instagram to give Matt Ryan a one-train ticket to nowhere, or I'm sorry, to elsewhere. But my point is, I think you would want to keep Julio Jones at least for a couple more weeks, because Matt Ryan, I believe, is pretty motivated to at least put up some quality numbers for you.
And, we could bring this in the same conversation with Michael Thomas, too, and Julio Jones. I feel like we're at the same level with both of those players. I think that you should hold on to both of them, because that when healthy, obviously, they're players, you know what they're capable of doing. We all know what they can do on the field. And, fantasy-wise, and Julio Jones, what a week he had last week. He went absolutely off. So,
insane.
When healthy, that guy's a difference maker. So I would hold on, like you said, I would hold on to him for the next couple weeks for sure.
Okay. And moving on, just because this is a topic I have to deal with myself right now for the team I'm managing. On the Chargers, the running back situation with Eckler out, you have Justin Jackson, and then you also have Kelly. What the hell is his first name? Is it Justin as well? What was it, Sean? Josh Kelly. Yeah. So who's the start there? I mean, or are you starting both of them?
I'll go with Justin Jackson. I don't know. I feel like I see more potential production from him. It's actually really hard to be honest with you, because Kelly had one good week. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2 weeks ago. He had a pretty decent game, but then Jackson took over, and I think he might be that RB moving forward for the Chargers in that backfield as of right now.
Yeah, and when I think about the Jaguars defense, I mean they are like the 5th easiest opponent for running backs too. So when I put that in consideration, I would definitely start Justin Jackson, because especially with that last game against the Saints, he definitely looked like the premier back over Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
My bad, guys. I got stuck on mute there. Yeah, I like Justin Jackson too, because I know Kelly was a guy getting the touches beforehand when Eckler was healthy. But I mean, after last week, we kind of saw who he outshined him in the backfield. It may not have been last week, maybe like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, because they had a bye week in between there. But yeah, I mean, he outshined him as the backup. So I think, and he has experience last year, I believe too. I think Justin Jackson took some carries last year before Melvin Gordon came back. And he did fairly well. So I think Justin Jackson's the guy that I'm going with right there too. I'm looking for some more fancy headlines here so that we touch on. I'm gonna pull up my roster too, because I have not been paying too much attention to it this week. I actually have a bunch of questionables in here. I can't believe Aaron Jones. It was so random. He was practiced all week until Thursday. Then Thursday I was like, oh, he's out. What'd you guys take on Robert Tonyan? Do you think he's a real deal, or do you think he was like a flash in the pan?
I think he's a flash in the pan, in my opinion. I mean, you saw you saw like a game or two that he was good, but just looking at like his matchups the rest of the season, it just really doesn't bode well for me. I would put him on the bench, maybe as just kind of like watch what he does, but to me, I don't have a lot of confidence in him.
I think that it's actually a good piece that Green Bay has. I actually am a big fan of Tanyan. I think he could be something special for Rodgers moving forward. I think he actually could be a go-to guy for him as they go deeper into this season, even possibly in the playoffs. When if they choose to end up making a deep run, if they could figure things out with the receiving core, of course. But I think he could be a huge playmaker for Rodgers, and for fantasy wise, it's hit or miss to start him because it really depends on who you have in your tight end spot and who are your flex options. That's what it comes down to. Like, so it's really hit or miss for me with Tanyan.
And I guess in my philosophy, when I talk about that flex option, I'm not saving that for a tight end. I'm saving that for like a running back. I'm saving that for like a wide receiver. And so if Tanyan is like your first choice, I hate to say it, but you've got to get a better upgrade.
I'm looking at his numbers too. I think he might be the real deal. He's questionable this week, which sucks because Houston's a favorable defense to start him against. But before the bye, before playing Tampa Bay, which we all can agree is probably one of the league's better defenses, if not the best right now. Mm-hmm. Week 4, he obviously had the 3 touchdown performance. And then before that, he had 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown against New Orleans. So I think he may be a weapon, especially in the red zone with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a guy you might, if not, keep him on the team, at least keep an eye on him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like reading some stuff too. I'm trying to like find like the injuries, touch on stuff like that. For my daily fantasy players, me personally, a quarterback that I like. I don't know if I want to share with you guys if you're gonna have this DraftKings pool this week, but I like Matthew Stafford against the Falcons. Just being that the Falcons defense is kind of terrible this year.
I guess I said the same thing about Kirk Cousins, and look how right I turned out to be.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this though, Matthew Stafford's fairly kind.
Oh yeah, Matt Stafford is much better than Kirk Cousins. That's definite. That's absolutely correct. And I'll give you this point. I don't expect Atlanta to put up a defensive effort like that twice in a row. I think that's asking for miracles.
Yeah. You also got Justin Herbert against the Jaguars too. Yeah. So, what's his numbers looking like this year? Is he still doing work in fantasy?
Herbert's due for pull out a W this week, definitely, man. It was so that he ended up falling short to Drew Brees in New Orleans. He was right there with them. That's how the Chargers are. It feels like they're so close. The game that they lost, really competitive. They were in the game with the Chiefs too. They were
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. Yeah, with the Bucs too. That's another game. And those are great quarterbacks right there. And he's going up. He's only a rookie.
And they're playing at home, and they're playing against the Jacksonville, soon-to-be London Jaguars very soon. So, I like Justin Herbert, but again, I'm going to go, if you want a must-start, definitely I'm going to put Aaron Rodgers on the top of the list.
Guys, I apologize. Caleb, for not getting to your question sooner. We had a question waiting there, too. I was reading the fantasy news. He asked Woods or Montgomery at the flex position this week.
Ooh, good question. Only because, in my opinion, when we look at a Los Angeles Rams team, I consider them a very fraudulent team because who are their 4 wins against? Your NFC least division, Sean. So I've seen what they did against the Buffalo Bills. I've seen what they've done against the San Francisco 49ers, sort of real teams. And if you want my opinion, I just don't think Robert Woods is going to have a real good day against Chicago. I would give Montgomery a chance. I really would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm doing the same.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm in half, to be honest with you. I actually have Montgomery in half of my leagues. So I'm actually have Montgomery as my flex option. So once again, I'm going to have to agree with you.
Man, I like you, Sean.
This is the opposite of first take, guys. They're gonna go like do a Zoom high five, like just looking at each other through the squares.
Hey, Sean's just keeping it at 100 here, not to plug in my show.
No, yeah, I think I like what Jordan said about the Rams kind of being a bit of a fraud this year because I never was really high on Jared Goff. I thought he was more of like a game manager more than like an actual like quarterback making plays. He can make some plays with his feet. I think he steals the NFC title one game, putting his shoulder down on a run. But and the Bears are a good ass defense, man. So I'm probably saying, I'm probably gonna go with Montgomery in that one. The Bears are solid defense. Also, Golf or Dalton this week. Oh man, those are gross options to pick from. Man, I feel so bad for you. I would check that waiver wire, buddy. Yeah, I would check. Man,
if you had to make me pick my poison here, and both of these are absolute poison, but I have a little bit more faith that Andy Dalton could do something against the Washington whatevers. More so than I would have with Jared Goff doing anything against this very top Chicago Bears defense, by the way.
Yeah, you know something? As soon as Washington could figure out what their identity is, then we'll talk. So, Andy Dalton, but seriously, like, there got to be some sort of better options out on the waiver wire, no? If that comes down to just the Goff or Dalton this week, that's actually kind of rough. Yeah,
Caleb, if you're still here with us, man, I hope you are because you definitely gotta get somebody. You can't go into this week with those guys at your quarterback position. You gotta maybe he's trying to be cheap and daily. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I don't know why those are options for you.
If somehow Herbert's available, I don't know. You gotta get. Hopefully, someone's good out there. Effort if he's out there. Somebody.
Maybe try Nick Foles. I mean, the Rams defense gave up 32 points one time to the Buffalo Bills, so it's not like they're pretty good defense.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
It's a tough situation.
Kyle Allen.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who's starting for Washington this week? It's like someone different.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. I might look at him, man. He's playing that shitty Dallas defense. So I go the opposite side of Dalton.
Consider just about anybody going up against Dallas, wouldn't you now?
Yeah.
Seriously.
So Blackbeard's got a question for us. Justin Jackson or Jamal Williams?
Ooh, Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams. Who's Justin Jackson? What team are they playing this week?
Chargers against the
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Jacksonville. Okay.
I'm just of the mindset. That if you're Jamal Williams, you're going to have a very good running day against this Texas defense that, again, I will remind everybody, gave up 200 yards to Derrick Henry. Now, I understand that Derrick Henry, is, in my opinion, is one of the top 2 running backs in this league. But Jamal Williams, especially with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, he's going to have a good day against this Texans defense. It's not like Justin Jackson isn't going to have a good day against the Jaguars defense, but I trust Jamal Williams against that defense in Houston more so than Jackson against that defense in Jacksonville.
And when you look at this, too, because at the same time with the Chargers, who knows what their exact game plan is of how they're going to split the carries between Jackson and Josh Kelly now. Because I feel like it's going to be a lot different in Green Bay because I feel like they're going to give Williams a lot more carries than what they're going to give the rookie A.J. Dillon. So I think you got to look at it kind of that way as well. And I just don't know exactly what to expect from that backfield for the Chargers as well. Because even though they're playing against Jacksonville, I don't really know because those guys are like hit or miss for me. So,
and plus, when they played against, a particular opponent that we thought they were going to win in Carolina, they turned out to be a disappointment in my opinion. So I'm unsure that the Chargers could even win against Jacksonville. I think they will win, but it's when I talk about the confidence level in the Los Angeles offense compared to the Green Bay offense at this particular point, I have a lot more confidence in the Green Bay offense.
For sure. And
yeah, I'm going Jamal Williams. I think Sean hit it right in the head with the rookie running back like sitting behind him. He's gonna see a lot more carries than Justin Jackson and Josh Kelly. Those guys doing it out because we're not even 100% sure. Like us on the panel, it seems like we're all leaning towards Justin Jackson as the main guy there. But Jamal Williams is gonna be for sure, guys, touching the ball there tomorrow. So I'll do that. Ben's in the building. So what up to Ben? ESP Radio. He started the fantasy show trend. If you guys saw, I was reading comments while you were giving your answers. I made a ooh face. It's because this one I'm about to put on the screen. Caleb, my man, those two nasty quarterbacks that he picked. He's in a two-quarterback league.
Oh,
Yeah.
Caleb, my boy.
Yeah,
you
man,
have
I
a
feel
rough
so.
life.
Yeah. It's a hard knock life out here, man. Yeah, Caleb, if you can, man, comment back. Let us know who's on the waiver wire for you. Maybe we can find someone for you because
give us
I
some
don't want to let
options
you do
here.
that, man.
We gotta help you out here. You cannot run with Dalton or Goff as your quarterback options. You really just can't.
I feel bad. I feel like I'm giving you a knife and just sending you out to go run through a battlefield. Like here, he'll be fine, buddy. Like, I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, bringing a knife to a gunfight. That's exactly the options he's got going on here.
Oh boy.
John, is that? I'm assuming that's Juju. It's supposed to be Juju Smith. Juju Smith or Gronk? Oh, who's Tampa playing this week? Las Vegas.
Yeah.
How's their defense been this year? How are the Raiders' defense, Sean? Have you kept an eye on them?
They've been decent. They've been decent, actually, to be honest with you. But I'll say this though. You have to remember this too with Gronk in that offense. Yes, I know Brady's, obviously they're best friends going all the way back to New England days, of course. But at the end of the day, you have your other options with Chris Godwin.
So many.
Mike Evans.
So many.
And then in your running game too, I feel like he wants to get Ronald Jones to continue to have him getting his carries too, because that's huge for Tampa Bay. That's another thing too. They need to continue to get that running game going with Ronald Jones. So I don't know. I think I'm towards Smith this week.
I would agree, and I'm going to go back to what you said about Brady. He's a guy typically, and this goes back to history, that, you could have him as your quarterback and be fine, but he spreads the ball around. He looks at everybody. It's not just one particular player like you see some of these quarterbacks do. He looks at the tight end. He looks at the running back. In fact, sometimes the running backs carry him a lot more than he carries the team, if I have to be quite honest. So Gronk, while I think he is not the worst tight end, I just trust Jonnu Smith a lot more. I'm going to have to agree with you, Sean.
And plus with Tampa Bay too, last week Brady included the rookie receiver out of Minnesota, Tyler Johnson, a lot. So that's a fourth receiver on their depth chart. So he was giving him some targets as well. So it makes you wonder, obviously that's spreading the ball. That's what he's been doing.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Ben. I think I'm finally reading something about Deontay Johnson too. So let's see. So 5-0 alongside Deontay. So Deontay Johnson's back as well. I might go the opposite, guys, just because it seems like maybe Gronk's appearances in these past two games and actually seeing the ball is maybe him and getting a little bit into the offense and maybe feeling it out a little bit better. I don't know. He is a red zone threat. I'd probably, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. Me personally, I'd probably go Gronk just because of the trend, right? Like he started off slow, and then now it seems like he's touching the ball a lot more. Because I'm just looking at the numbers here, and I'll tell you guys too. Let me pull it back up because I was looking at Juju's. Gronk, week 5 had 3 catches. Week 6 had 5 catches. So he's kind of got an upward trend of seeing the ball more. But that's a tough one too. Blackbeard, shouts out to you. Thanks for tuning in, man. We're gonna be doing this every week. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Keeping It 100 podcast. Sean's part of Speakeasy Sports. He's about to be here, but he also is on Spotify and
I'm also at my own Instagram page as well at Sean_Kiernan.
Yeah, and we're gonna bounce this fantasy show around, and I think something we're gonna try to touch on weekly. Every Saturday or maybe change days. It's something I definitely want to keep doing because I do like this. It is fun.
Hey, give me all the days that you want. I like to talk sports and I like to tell stories.
All right, let's save our man Caleb here. So he on the wire. He's got Drew Lock, Big Dick Nick, Sam Darnold, and Kyle Allen. Get Allen, bro.
Allen.
Yeah. What do you think, Sean?
Let's see. I'm looking. Okay, so Lock's going up against Kansas City. Take that out. Darnold's going up against Buffalo. I would take that out too, especially coming off just back from an injury.
Foles against the Rams.
It's really up to you if you want to take the risk on that matchup. But Kyle Allen going up against the worst defense in the NFL. I think
Yeah, out of those four, my top choice is Kyle Allen.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at two because I'm looking at his numbers because he did he put some work in on the Giants. Is that who he was? Kyle, didn't he come back and get a win against the Giants, Sean, or was that?
Well,
am I thinking about
Kyle
something else?
Allen got like 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did not win the game because Ron
Okay, that's
Rivera
right.
decided to go for that 2-point conversion instead of going, kicking the extra point and go to overtime.
And which they probably would have won that game in overtime.
Yeah, but it's the
I-
Washington whatever team. I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, Caleb, I would grab Kyle Allen. If you had to drop one of those quarterbacks, fuck. I mean, I don't want to tell you to drop anybody. That's your decision to make. Which two should you start though? Allen and Goff, or Allen and Dalton? Maybe Dalton.
I would.
Yeah,
do
probably go
Dalton.
Dalton.
Allen and Dalton.
Still ugly pair, but better than what it was, man. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Tennessee tight end. Ben, are you asking our opinion or like the tight end situation there? Or?
Yeah, I definitely go Jonnu Smith, the Tennessee tight end for sure.
Oh, Jonnu Smith. I was thinking Juju Smith. Oh, I'm such a jackass. I apologize. I had us going on a whole Juju Smith versus Gronk segment, and it wasn't even like who he was talking about.
Dang, easy. Got to get some coffee.
Yeah, I do, man. I was watching UFC all day today with my son. It was wild. Shouts out to Habib, the GOAT, retired, undefeated. Rest in peace, his father. Only QBs left. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what we got another one, too. So, Giovanni Bernard or Gibson. So, we were high on Gibson earlier in the show. He's going up against a shitty defense. And Giovanni Bernard, the inconsistency over there and in Cincinnati, I don't know if he's so safe to play.
When I think of, again, in terms of, comparative defenses, that's always like my big thing going into fantasy, like comparative defenses. I'm going to stick with Gibson on this one. I really am. Because as we have all said before, who are they playing?
Exactly. And you have to remember this too. Gibson's on the Washington football team going up against Dallas. That's an NFC East, as we say, the NFC least now. So at division matchup, we know already that players end up going off. For a fact, like, for example, look at Boston Scott going up against the Giants. The last 2 times they played each other on Thursday Night Football, that guy always goes off against the Giants for some reason. I just don't know why. But that's the case. It really depends on, I guess, the matchup in the NFC East division. And once again, I feel a lot more comfortable with Gibson.
I don't know if we could hear you, mate.
Oh, what? Easy. What happened?
Yeah,
My bad, guys. I've been muting myself so I could burp every once in a while. Eat some nachos watching those fights. Yeah, but to touch back on Ben's topic, since I fumbled that one, it's not Juju Smith he's referring to Jonnu Smith of the Tennessee Titans. Which tight end are you guys starting? Jonnu Smith or Gronk?
Jonnu Smith.
Yep, I'm rolling with the same thing, exactly what we touched upon earlier. We could only talk about this. We could debate this all the time, but, Brady's going to always continue to spread the ball around that offense, and he wants to include different faces. And definitely if AB gets cleared and good to go to play, he's definitely going to want him to get involved as well. So you definitely got to be careful moving down the stretch with Gronk as your starting tight end.
And when I really look at it, I mean, you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers that, in my opinion, have a better secondary than the Raiders. And so that leaves a lot more holes for Jonnu Smith to go out. But if you're talking the Tennessee offense, you're going to rely probably a little bit more on the running back. You're probably going to rely a little bit more on the tight ends, which is why Jonnu Smith is so attractive to me.
Yeah, I like Jonnu simply for the reason, like, once they're in the red zone, you're stacking the box for against Derrick Henry, so you can sneak him in the pass to Jonnu Smith. He's going to see some touchdowns that way. Like, Derrick Henry makes him super valuable, so I for sure go Jonnu Smith in that situation. I think one of the Pittsburgh linebackers are out too, if I'm not mistaken. Which one is it? I'll look it up too. Damn it. I think it might be Bud Dupree.
It could no.
I'm not sure.
It could be Dupree. Could be.
Yeah, I know. They might be missing a linebacker this week. I heard or read that somewhere. Caleb has Stafford as QB1. Well, that's a good quarterback to have this week because we
Thank
go.
God.
Yeah,
You had to have somebody
All right.
decent.
So, yeah, Stafford and Allen. Then that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
that's a pair.
that's a beautiful combination right there. You had us worried there, Caleb.
Yeah, man, I was worried for you, man. Yeah, Caleb, what's your record this year with those quarterbacks? They're not looking too pretty for you.
Well, it's also dependent. Do you have anybody else on the bye? Because that's also something we didn't quite ask. Like, do you have like someone besides like Dalton or Goff on your bench that you're holding on to because you have a bye week with them?
Now, did one of you guys say Austin Hooper was out this week with an injury?
Yeah.
Okay. I was looking at tight ends for Ben.
And moving forward, they were saying that he might miss the following week as well. That they were saying that it might be a 2-week stint that he's out for.
Ouch.
All these NFL injuries, man. And what's unfortunate is the effect is so magnified because of the fact that you just didn't have that conditioning like you did in seasons past. I mean, there was no training camp, barely no preseason. Like, it's a very, very tough if you're an NFL player right now. You got to do everything you can to stay safe and to not get yourself injured.
T. Higgins or Marvin Jones? We got T. Higgins, Cincinnati versus Cleveland, and we have Marvin Jones. He's facing that weak ass Atlanta defense. I'm probably going
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I might be going Jones. It's tough though, because T. Higgins has some pretty good games too.
I get that, but I feel bad for Joe Burrow because I do think he's a really good quarterback. But with this team, they're not the offensive flash pan. They're either hit or miss. And when I think about Cleveland, as we said before, this is a very must-win game for Cleveland. So I do expect the offense to do something, to carry Baker Mayfield because he's not going to do it by himself. And so if you're doing that, then the defense has to also step up too. And with Joe Burrow against a more magnified, a little bit better Cleveland Browns defense, especially going up against a second time so they know a little bit what he's got, that's really tough if you're Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati Bengals offense. So I'm staying clear from T. Higgins this week, and I'm going Marvin Jones because I at least know what I'm getting with the Atlanta Falcons defense, which, to be honest, is not a lot of anything.
Mm-hmm. No, those are all great points right there. And this is actually – I'm going to go with T. Higgins. And if you look at real quick with Cincinnati, if you're looking at their offense and who has a shot at actually putting up numbers in this game, it's T. Higgins. So I think that he's actually going to make some noise in this game from that Cincinnati offense. I think he'll be that number one guy to do some damage for them. If they're definitely making this a close game, he'll be a huge factor for them. But with this Detroit offense now, I think Kenny Galladay actually might have a bigger game than Marvin Jones. I think Galladay's
all day, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
I definitely have – I forgot to mention him. I think he's definitely a must-start this week. I forgot to say that earlier. But, I really believe in Galladay being that – obviously, he's a number one guy in Detroit. But, just overall, I think Galladay is going to get a lot of targets, a lot of points.
But at the same time, I mean, he's good. Marvin Jones is also very attractive because – he's probably going to be playing against whatever else the Atlanta Falcons got at the secondary. And as I said, if you're not playing with much of anything and you've got the best quarterback going against Kenny Galladay, imagine what the second out of nothing Atlanta Falcons defense, how Marvin Jones is going to do.
There's a good point. I will say, who has that been? T. Higgins is definitely on a roll. He's had at least 4 catches, I think, in the last 3 games. Tyler Boyd's a problem there, so I think he'll be the focus wide receiver for that Cleveland defense. Although I like the matchup, like Jordan's saying, against Atlanta, Marvin Jones' numbers are not pretty. I'm a Detroit fan, so I've been watching him. He's not a bad receiver at all. It's just for some reason he's not seeing a ball. I maybe go T. Higgins on that one. Our man Caleb comment again. He said he has 2 on the bench, so that's safe. I mean, that's dope that you have that because he may be the real deal because that was really crazy, right? I feel like Fitzpatrick, he wasn't doing terrible.
Fitzpatrick did nothing wrong. I mean, listen, the
Yeah.
fact that he absolutely demolished the 49ers. And, I wish I had our last guy from here last week so I can, pick on him a little bit more. But, Ryan Fitzpatrick is 3-3. He's done a pretty decent job. And, this is the trajectory of Ryan Fitzpatrick. This is what Miami Dolphins wanted to do all along. Have Ryan Fitzpatrick go, at least allow Tua to get some experience out there. But ultimately, Tua, I predicted was going to start this season. I had him going a little bit earlier, to be honest, at playing against the 49ers. But I knew all along that Tua was going to start this season.
I'm thinking he must have been super impressive in practice. So I think that's a safe guy to have to invest in on your bench there. Because like I said, Fitzpatrick wasn't doing absolutely terrible. So like the fact that they just benched him right away after a win, after a blowout win too, actually against those Jets.
But then again, that's the Jets. Okay, I feel like anybody could win against them. Well, the Broncos barely got the win, but we did get the win.
Sam Joshi asked, I got offered Mike Thomas, Deandre Swift for Jefferson and Antonio Brown. Oh, dang.
Justin Jefferson and Antonio Brown, just to confirm, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Justin Jefferson, of the Minnesota Vikings, and Antonio Brown now of the Tom Brady corpse carriers.
Yeah, you see that picking up AB right away. Everyone's making the move.
Honestly, because here's the thing, and I'm now just thinking more so long term, right? It's unfortunate to get coronavirus, but how does that affect Emmanuel Sanders coming back? I mean, you kind of saw a little bit what happens when you have coronavirus. Not to say that Cam Newton played bad because of what happened with the coronavirus and everything like that, but it's something to consider. So when I look at a long-term investment, I think Mike Thomas is going to get a lot more targets. Now, people are going to say is Drew Brees, not the same quarterback, which you can argue that he's not at this particular juncture. But I do believe he is going to bounce back. I believe he's very motivated to try for another Super Bowl, considering he's not getting any younger. And Deandre Swift, as much as I make fun of him for what he did against Chicago the first game, he had a very good game, a fantastic game last week, getting those 2 touchdowns. And knowing that he is playing against that Atlanta Falcons defense, as we had just mentioned beforehand, is trash. I would take that trade.
You're taking the trade, so you're giving up Antonio Brown and Justin Jefferson for Mike Thomas and Deandre Swift?
I will, because Mike Thomas has more of a potential for targets. DeAndre Swift has a more potential to start and get targets. Antonio Brown, my question is, how many targets is he going to get under a Tom Brady offense? Because I just go back with history. Tom Brady is the spread the ball guy. He's not targeting a single player particular kind of guy. And Justin Jefferson, I mean, listen, when Kirk Cousins is your quarterback and you can't do anything against this Atlanta Falcons defense that we were just talking about, that is a problem. I do not think that Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback whatsoever. I think Jefferson's a great wide receiver. I'm just worried about how much production is he going to have over the long term.
Yep, and I also look at it this way too, because especially with Kirk Cousins, obviously he looks for more his number one guy, which is Adam Thielen. So when he continues to look at him as well, so you're basically you're giving up here 2 wide receiver 2s, but really actually Brown's going to be the wide receiver 3 spot. So like you're getting Mike Thomas, and like when healthy, he's obviously the number one guy for Drew Brees. So like that's the guy that they're missing to push them over the top right now. And as for Swift, he just won the RB battle in Detroit. There was a lot of question marks heading into the season whether this rookie's gonna win that RB battle right now. And obviously, it looks like he has. So I would definitely take that deal. You're getting Mike Thomas and Swift for you got to give up Jefferson and Antonio Brown. I'll do that any day.
Yeah, for me it's tough. I'm looking at Mike Thomas. So he has a really favorable playoff schedule, fantasy playoff, I should say. Playing a lot of weak teams there. I am concerned with Drew Brees this year in decline. I mentioned that a little bit earlier in the show. You know what I would do? So it's maybe not so bad to take, but I'd maybe ask for a little bit more, maybe get a little something extra back, because you could say, hey, look at my guys that have produced. Justin Jefferson has had a couple big games, right? I think 2 or 3 now, and he's one of those garbage time guys who are gonna get points because they're always fighting to come back. With Kirk Cousins and whatnot. So, plus I like Antonio Brown, man. I know Tom Brady's not the same kind of situation with Drew Brees, like not what he used to be, but those shorter throws, I feel like Antonio Brown can execute that like really well for him in that offense. So maybe take it, but maybe ask for like a little something extra if he's got like a better defense or kicker or something. I feel like you got the upper hand that traded. He sent it to you, so go ahead, rob him. Take him for everything he's got. Ray Gamer, pick 2. Amari Cooper versus Washington football team. Tyler Boyd versus Browns. DJ Shark. I think Shark is out against the Chargers. I gotta double check. Is he asking or is he telling us something? I'll read over. So pick 2. Amari Cooper versus the Washington football team. Tyler Boyd versus the Browns. DJ Shark versus the Chargers. Justin Jackson versus Jaguars, standard. And I also got Antonio Brown ready for week 9. I think he's just showing off his team. He's just rubbing it in our face. That's fun.
So I am going – oh, this is a good list. So in this particular grouping right here, I am going to take Justin Jackson first. And when I look at everybody else – I am going to pick DJ Shark because of how I feel about the Chargers defense.
Okay.
That's
good. I think he's just showing off. He's rubbing it in our face. Hey, Ray Gamer, man. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'll add you to a group chat. We do the daily fantasy leagues on DraftKings every week. It's a little $5 buy-in. I put 15 people this week. Invite whoever. Invite your moms.
Yeah, friends, let me get some more money from you. Thank you.
Yeah, but tap in, man, for sure, because we do. I think the top 2 are taking prizes this week. If the list continues to grow, man, we can do top three prize winners. But hop in, man. I see you showing off your fantasy knowledge. Just come test it, man. DraftKings. I talked a lot of smack last week. I ended up in 8th place.
I almost got there before. I almost got to the money pot, but I was just 2 places behind.
Yeah, you know what?
Get in there, man. You'll be there.
You know what? I was looking at all the people who finished ahead of us, bro. Everybody had Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry went off last week. He had a whole fantasy lineup in one run. He had a 94-yard touchdown. Like, you're gonna win, right? Like, if you start a guy who does that, like, it's just
that's
the
over.
crazy thing about fantasy sometimes.
If in fantasy you had Derrick Henry on your team and lost your game last week, you have a lot more question marks that you need to answer, and now.
Facts. Oh, so Ray Gamer's asking who to start. I apologize. So he has Amari Cooper. I'll read off again then. I apologize, guys. Amari Cooper versus the Washington football team. Tyler Boyd versus the Browns. DJ Shark returning from an injury against the Chargers. It's a Thursday night game. It looks like he's Thursday there. Then Justin Jackson versus the Jaguars. It's a standard league. Definitely, he says he got Antonio Brown as well, but I'm setting him.
I'm going Justin Jackson and DJ Shark.
What about you, Sean?
I'm gonna go. I agree with Jackson, but as my second pick, I'm gonna go with Amari Cooper going up against Washington. And the reason behind that is that I'm just waiting to see. Obviously, we're waiting to see which receiver is going to be for Dallas right now, because it seems like every other week it's someone new that goes absolutely off. You saw a couple weeks ago, Michael Gallup put up these crazy numbers, and then Amari Cooper went downhill. Then the following Cooper went off, and then all of a sudden Gallup's production went down. So now I know there's, of course, CeeDee Lamb there, the rookie. But I think because I think Washington's defense, they're going to be focused on CeeDee Lamb, I think, a lot more. So Cooper might be able to get more production. I think Cooper will have a decent day if Dallas could pull off the win.
I just hope the Red Rifle could do something. I mean, he was not the Red Rifle, more like the red Pee-wee shooter last week against the Cardinals. So I hope
he was more like a Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah, the Red Ryder BB gun. Thank you.
Shoot, man, look at this line. I like Tyler.
It's tough.
It is tough. I like Tyler Boyd. The one thing I will say, as inconsistent as that Bengals offense is, they always are in comeback situations where they're kind of having to throw the ball a lot of times. DJ Shark. He's returning from injury. He's playing a Chargers defense that played the Kansas City offense really, really tough, which has tons of weapons at the receiver position. So I'm maybe staying away from him. Justin Jackson versus Jaguars I like only because Deandre Swift and Adrian Peterson both had a touchdown against them last week. And our rushing, I'm a Lions fan if you don't know, but our rushing it hasn't been too great. So
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, for both those guys to go off last week against the Jaguars, I would definitely start Justin Jackson there. Yeah, maybe Amari, maybe Tyler Boyd and Justin Jackson for me. Oh, we got sorry, I was reading another comment popped up. Yeah, maybe that's where I'm going. Looking at that. Yeah, for sure. Give me Boyd and Justin Jackson, just on the limb. Who's this, Nathan? What up, Nathan? Nathan, I got caught up in something. It's all good, man. Hey, we're just here chilling, man. This is only second week. We have no like structure. Jordan asked me before we came on, like, what are we talking about? I was like, I just like texted a bunch of shit to him real quick. Like, I really don't know. But I mean, I'll definitely gonna be more prepared for next week. Next week there's also not UFC going on. Shades 721 Standard League starting Chris Carson. I have Rojo and David Johnson for the second slot, or should I pick up Jay Williams and play him over them? Who's Rojo? Who?
Ronald Jones.
Oh, he's been going off, hasn't he? Or no? Maybe just against Green Bay. Let's see. I'm pull up his numbers real quick. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna pull up Ronald Jones' numbers real quick for you, Shades. But I like Jamal Williams.
I do like Jamal Williams, but
yeah.
Although Ronald Jones is playing against the Raiders defense, and they gave up 32, albeit to Kansas City, but they don't have the greatest defense either. And I do trust Ronald Jones II as a better running back than Williams, so that is definitely a tough call. I will agree.
Ooh. Ronald Jones had some sexy fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
His last 3 weeks at least. Yeah. My bad, Sean, for cutting you off, but
you're good.
I mean, go ahead, Sean, actually. You probably know the numbers.
No, I was just gonna say real quick when we were talking about the Raiders defense, it's like it reminds me of Tennessee's defense, who's hit or miss. So I look at Raiders defense like that. So yeah, I would be looking at either picking up Williams or I do like yeah, I actually do. I like Ronald Jones matchup though. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, I'd probably go Ronald Jones too, actually, for sure. And I think, speaking of Chris Carson, I think both sides offensively in that game, Seattle versus Arizona, I think that's going to be like a barn burner of an offensive game.
That's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, so I feel like you're pretty safe with any guys starting there. So feel free to start a lot of those receivers in that matchup too. Except for keep an eye on DeAndre Hopkins. I know he's questionable. Got another one here too. So Ray Gamer, also if it snows in the Chiefs game, I'm considering playing Justin Herbert over Mahomes. But hoping it doesn't snow, and hopefully Jonnu Smith will do all right versus Steelers. I think Jonnu Smith will do well.
And I'm just hoping for a Broncos win over the Chiefs. I might be talking a lot of a fanatical belief, but that's all I care about in that game.
Yeah, so if it does snow, what are you doing, Sean? If it snows, are you starting Justin Herbert, or are you still stick with Mahomes?
I'm gonna. You want something? I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Herbert. If that's the case, I'm gonna go with Herbert. I think yes, you want something because where's this game? Is this in Jacksonville or is it in LA?
This is in LA.
This is in LA. Okay. So yeah, if you really look at it this way, no matter where it is actually the climate, it seems like it won't matter. So if it was in Jacksonville, he'll be putting up the same amount of points. So like there's no cold weather that's gonna affect him. So I think Herbert in that scenario.
Yeah, if it snows, I'm looking because they're playing. Yeah, and Denver did really well actually last week against New England has like no offensive toys, but if it snows, I wouldn't be mad going with Herbert. I ain't mad. He's got a great receiver lineup to look at or pass to. I definitely like Jonnu Smith though. It's just going forward just in the season. Yeah. As long as Derrick Henry's healthy, I feel like that's a great guy to have in your team. Nathan tuned in. He said, I made a trade with my friend last week. I got Mike Evans and Tyler Higbee for Juju, Robbie Anderson, That's it. Wow. You're not a friend then. You just robbed your friend. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that trade. I would have kept Robbie Anderson for sure. Juju, I would have kept for sure. Here's the thing. I was a little bit high on Tyler Higbee when he had that, I believe, 3-touchdown game 1 game ago, but just riding out the rest of the season, knowing, as I have eloquently stated before, they're not playing the NFC least anymore. I just don't have a lot of confidence in this Rams offense. And, with Mike Evans, you're going with the Tampa Bay offense that just spreads the ball around. There's not a particular target that Tom Brady goes for. And at least I know with Teddy Bridgewater, he does target Robbie Anderson a lot. And I know with Big Ben, he can, albeit Juju has not played, doesn't have the numbers to dictate that, but I just don't like the trade. I really don't like the trade.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either because Robbie Anderson's actually like one of the best things that happened to that Carolina receiving core in actually time. Like,
ain't that some shit, man? You have Cam Newton for how many years and you don't get him anything, and then he leaves. You're like, oh, come on, Robbie Anderson, like come join our team. Like what? Like what are you guys doing?
It makes you wonder what's going on in Cam's mind right now. He's probably like, I go to New England and all of a sudden now it's kind of the same type of situation in New England for him because he has an agent Julian Edelman, but we haven't seen anything from like a N'Keal Harry just yet. So he's probably scratching his head like, is this Carolina all over again for me? So like,
yeah,
No, but to get back to the point though here, I Juju, I'm a big fan of Juju too. Jeez, why did you do that trade?
Juju has some ugly numbers though. Like looking at his fantasy lineup, like week 1 he went off actually 21 points. Week 2 against Denver he had 8, which isn't too bad. Week 3 against Houston he had 14. But the past 2 weeks, since the emergence of Chase Claypool, he has 4 points and then 1 point last week. I don't know. I think if Tom Brady does have a favorite receiver, it's Mike Evans. Looking at his numbers, I mean he's a red zone target. He's a huge guy, and I think that's one thing too. Actually, that's different. Although he has a lot of weapons in Tampa Bay, in comparison to New England, maybe he spread the ball because he didn't have like a one guy that was the it guy, except for when we had like Randy Moss. So I think he's kind of forced to spread the ball out in this situation. Here, we got Mike Evans in the red zone. I'm kind of going there like. What? At least two downs, 2 passing downs, right? Like,
so we both agree. All three of us agree that Robbie Anderson, Mike Evans are the strong power players in that deal. So my question is, do you want Juju Smith or do you want Tyler Higbee? In my opinion, I'd rather have Juju than Tyler Higbee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it just depends on your tight end situation too. Ray Gamer. The Chiefs defense is a good start versus the Broncos and also the Jets next week. Also, can't wait for the Steelers and the Titans tomorrow. That is going to be a good game. Did I miss something?
I will not disagree with you that the Chiefs defense is probably a good start, but I will hold all comments with my Denver bias.
Yeah, Jordan's a Broncos fan. Yeah, last week Jordan told everybody to start Jerry Jeudy. It's like no against New England's defense. I was like, don't do that. No. What was the other one? Also, who's playing the Jets this week?
The Jets are playing
Buffalo this week.
Oh, God.
Buffalo? Oh, shit. That's it. Oh, that's next week. I apologize. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're good.
Oh, you're good. You're solid.
Yeah. Hell yeah. It's some solid defensive plays there. Ray Gamer, Steelers fan.
Hey, Ray Gamer, good game second week against us. Good job.
Steelers is actually one of the first teams I ever liked because when I first started watching football, that's when the Super Bowl was here in Detroit. And I'm a bigger light-skinned fella, and there was a bigger light-skinned fella on that team by the name of Jerome Bettis, the bus. At running back. So I always hold the Steelers kind of dear to my heart. I was drunk that day. I was nipping in response to the trade. I mean, look, Robbie Anderson and Mike Evans kind of like fair trade-off there, right? It's just like the Higbee and Juju situation that you're comparing. Yeah, maybe that is an L in that situation. Looking at Juju's numbers versus Higbee's, Yeah, that was. I mean, again, depends. We got you lost.
It makes me wonder how fast did the league manager put that trade through.
Maybe the trade was with the league manager, huh? Ray Gamer. Basically, the rest of my lineup is Derrick Henry, fire, and I traded for James Conner earlier in the year and got him. I'm glad I have him, and my kickers will lose.
Oh wow,
you have a good team, bro.
Will Lutz is a very good kicker. I have in one of my leagues, so that was definitely a good pickup, Ray.
Hell yeah. I'll put this on the screen. I'll appease you, Nathan, but we're not Cowboy fans over here. I hate the Cowboys. All right, I'm getting that off real quick. Bye. Get the hell out of here.
Listen, Dallas Cowboys fans, I'm going to repeat this to you. The last time that you actually did anything, and I'm talking about even getting to the NFC Championship game, my mother was 7 months pregnant with me. So if that tells you anything, the Dallas Cowboys are they always say they're going to win the Super Bowl, and they end up just not even doing anything.
Yeah, I think a lot of them is like the media. Go ahead, Sean. What are you going to say? Yeah, that's one of your rivals, man.
No, I was just going to say that I got to give him credit for still having faith in that team right now. As soon as Dak went down, and especially how atrocious that defense is, I give you kudos for just saying, let's go Cowboys.
Listen. Anything is possible in that putrid division that the Eagles are also a part of. So I completely get where he's coming from.
All right, so Matt Daly, he needs a wide receiver 2 and a flex. It's a full PPR league. He gives us the options of Henderson, Juju, Cooper Kupp, and Phillip Lindsay. You want to start with the Broncos fan? You want to touch on Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon?
So I'm gonna say this. I would definitely put Lindsay in, and here is why. I'm not trying to be the Denver bias guy anymore. I'm looking at this in a more objective point. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs have one of the best offenses we have ever seen. Yes, they have the best quarterback in the planet in Patrick Mahomes. But what has been their Achilles heel, even when they had all this great success, their defense is questionable. And so with that being said, I'm definitely going to give Lindsay the benefit of the doubt in terms of starting him in your flex position. And when it comes to the wide receiver standpoint of things, I'm going to go ahead and do this strictly by defensive comparison. So Cooper Kupp, I'm not playing. And, when it comes to Henderson versus Juju, and who is Henderson playing again?
The Bears. The Rams are facing the Bears, aren't they?
Oh.
Don't like that matchup for him.
Yeah, I don't like that matchup. So I'm going Juju. I'm going Juju, and I'm going Phillip Lindsay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I totally agree with it. Again, but seriously, if you really look at the matchups, though, I don't think that the Rams are that. Here's the thing. I don't even think they're that good of a football team.
Oh, they're fraudulent.
Yeah.
It's just that division to begin with, that NFC West, it's so competitive with Arizona being on the rise, who are huge threats to be second place for sure in that division. And it's I just look at this and I'm like, okay, Henderson and Kupp, and like we said, we touched on earlier, Kupp has been a little bit on the downfall in that offense right now. So I eliminate him right away. And then I know Juju's been a little bit down, like you mentioned, easy, but I expect him to actually have a pretty decent game for the Steelers. I expect him to get more involved because the opposing defense, Tennessee, I think, is expecting a lot. I think that's the thing. They're looking out for Claypool a lot, so I think Juju will get some action.
Yeah, if I'm going Phillip Lindsay in the flex. For wide receiver 2, man, I might go shopping for if he's there. Because it's gonna be a barn burner. If it's not, I'll eat my crow next week on next week's fantasy show. But Christian Kirk from the Arizona Cardinals, he had a big game last week. He had a decent game beforehand. Just because those wide receiver options for me, I'm not liking them as much. But I don't know. Yeah, just check the waiver. Look, see what kind of wide receivers you got there. But if I had to pick between what I have in front of me right now, I'm probably going Juju. Ray Gamer says he loves the Cowboy Stadium. They do have a badass stadium. I think maybe the best in the league.
Stadium.
Yeah. I can't. That is undeniable. The place is immaculate.
The team performance could back that up.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they have that fancy stadium, right? To distract you. Give you a lot more things to do instead of watch the game. All right, pick one. PPR: Jamal Williams, Drake, Odell Beckham, or Tyler Boyd.
Wow. I'm gonna go Jamal Williams. I'm
probably in the same boat. Jamal Williams. He had a little showcasing against the Atlanta Falcons. He looked really good. Again, there's a backup. The backup behind him is a rookie. I'm not so sure they want to give him the ball as much. And
again, we're talking about the Texans defense.
Texans defense and Aaron Rodgers getting them in the red zone too. So PPR, I'd probably go Jamal Williams. What about you, Sean?
No, I'm definitely with the both of you here. I feel a lot more comfortable with Jamal Williams. But look at Kenyon Drake real quick, because I know last week he had a good game because
really good game.
He had a really good game because they were playing the Cowboys. But I think that's actually a game that he could actually that's going to get him going in the near future, because they had Edmonds in that backfield as well. That was another confusing situation there. Edmonds, I feel like, is going to get out of the equation a little bit. I think it goes back to Drake completely. I think he's more involved. But then again, it's going to be interesting because Seattle's secondary is still banged up, right? Seattle's secondary, I think, is still banged up.
Yeah, and even when they weren't, I think it was Cam Newton was throwing all over him. When Jamal Adams was healthy too. So, and we all know that New England, offense doesn't have a lot of firepower at the receiver position.
And Seattle also, I don't think they don't have the best pass rush right now either. So that's another thing too.
Yeah, so probably, Jamal Williams or Drake. Let me pull up Drake's numbers real quick too. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see. Nathan wants to know if it's too late to join the show. You hop on, Nathan. Give me 1 second. I have a question for you guys actually, because I kind of want to add Christian Kirk to my lineup. Well, I'm on my bench. I may have to drop somebody, obviously. How do you guys feel about Darren Fells? Dropping Darren Fells for Christian Kirk this week? Am I tripping? Because he's kind of a high rise. I thought it was an easy decision to make, but yeah, Darren Fells out of Houston, the tight end.
Good question. Let's see. What I'm going to do let me see
because I don't trust Kupp. And Crowder's out. Or Crowder's doubtful, I should say. I apologize.
I mean, when I look at some of their matchups, I guess, moving forward in terms of the later part of the season, it's more likely that Darren Fells would be very successful. So I'm going to skip the Packers. You got the Jaguars next. Then you got the Browns, which, again, are a very inconsistent defense. Patriots, that's tough. They got the Lions. Then you got the Colts, who are, again, very hit or miss in terms of their defense. Bears, no, you're not playing Fells against the Bears. But then you got the Bungles, and then you got the Titans. So I would say Fells is very smart to at least hold on to, especially when you get to those playoff matchups.
Should drop. Yeah, fuck. Go ahead, Sean. My bad.
You want something? I think, what Ray's saying here with Christian Kirk, I actually love him this week because what exactly we don't know. Hopkins is still listed as questionable, right? That's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, Hopkins is questionable.
Because let's just say if he doesn't play, Kirk is going to be obviously that number one guy in that offense, I feel like, for Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
But even with Hopkins, if Hopkins ends up playing, I do think that Christian Kirk could have a pretty big game. I think he's definitely someone to consider for you, Easy. I know it's hard to debate who to drop, but I actually really like Kirk against a banged up Seattle secondary.
And Seattle does have a good defense to begin with, to add to your point, Sean.
Joe Burrow will throw a lot tomorrow, even without Mixon. He already throws a lot. Yeah, and that's kind of like earlier, I think somebody asked about T. Higgins, starting him over somebody else. And I was like, I like it. I'm not necessarily down on it because I think Tyler Boyd's the number one focus guy there. So I think, and Joe Burrow does throw a lot. So, but again, I don't know. You're talking about maybe starting him? I'm not sure. But yeah, he does throw a lot. Diego says thanks. Yeah, man. Make sure you subscribe. You got a YouTube channel too, right, Jordan?
I do have a YouTube channel that I just comment on. I don't do videos as of yet. That's going to be
okay.
That's definitely in the plans. But
Yeah.
more so, follow me on Spotify. Follow me on iTunes at Keeping It 100 Podcast. It's just audio for right now, but we are moving towards potentially getting video done here pretty soon.
For sure. And stick around here too, man. Subscribe at Speakeasy Sports because both Sean and I both run this page, and we'll both be posting content, interviews, stuff like that too. But the fantasy show we're doing weekly. There's another guy too, Ben, BS3 Radio. If you want to subscribe to him too, we do these fantasy shows weekly, and we love when people comment. We love to get involved because there is no show prep. So when you guys comment, it gives us content,
something to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So make sure you subscribe, Diego, and then check out Jordan on Spotify and Apple Casts and all that good stuff. Because oh shit, I'm sorry, I'm so new to this streaming platform. I'm looking at everything I can do. I apologize, guys. Yeah, man. I don't know who this. I want to pick up Christian Kirk, and not even for the full season, right? Just like for tomorrow, because I know it's going to be a barn burner of a game. But I just don't know who to drop. You think Crowder's safe to drop, or that's like stupid? Because like he only has one single digit game last week. And it's actually only 8 points too, which isn't like terrible. 7 catches.
Crowder's dependable, especially because, listen, when we talk about the Jets, they normally, by at least the second or third quarter, play in garbage time anyway. So you got Crowder right there, who's definitely going to get some targets. I would hold on to Crowder.
Yeah. Is Cup? I don't. It's like I can drop Cup, right? But like, I just don't want to drop him. I want to like at least get a trade, get something for him. But it's too late now. It's Saturday night. Fuck. I'm stuck.
Decisions.
Yeah, I might just leave it. Alone. Because I'll give you the lineup right now. It's for shout out my boy Jesse, who reached out to me to manage his team for him. But and I'm definitely probably kicking this guy out of here. Tom Brady is our starting quarterback this week. When I wanted Carson Wentz, I think I told Sean that earlier this week. But yeah, we got Tom Brady at the quarterback position. Justin Jackson, he's in because of Austin Eckler's out, and then Aaron Jones is now out too. Adrian Peterson because of our running back situation. Cooper Kupp. This is an ugly ass lineup actually. Cooper Kupp, Keenan Cole, Robert Tonyan, Chase Claypool, Patriots D, and then Matt Prater. But no one really gives a fuck about the kicker. Yeah, who's the best fantasy kicker for you guys? I have like a superstition. Every year I draft Justin Tucker. Every year I had to have him on my team. I make trades for him. I don't know why. He had the 67. He killed it for me one year. It's just like a superstition at this point.
See, I'd rather go, but I only do this because now Tucker is good. Tucker is really good, but I honestly I go Harrison Butker for the Chiefs because I know at least whenever the Chiefs have the ball, because I would definitely believe Mahomes is a better quarterback than Jackson. I at least know they're getting into either field goal territory or at least Butker is getting an opportunity to kick an extra point. So he's a point machine for me personally.
Yeah, Butker was always my number one guy as a kicker, and obviously he was actually the first kicker to go off in most of my fantasy drafts anyway. So I ended up going with Justin Tucker and Will Lutz, but those are not bad options to rely on. So to be honest with you, those top three right there, I couldn't be more happy with one of them. So
yeah, I'm looking at the rankings right now. That's actually it right there for ESPN, the 2020 kicker rankings. It goes Justin Tucker, Butker, Will Lutz, Prater. And then everybody else we don't care about after that. Welcome to our fantasy show. We're talking about kickers.
Best part of the show by far.
I need Eckler to come back soon. Man. You just heard me read up that terrible ass lineup we got going on. I played Young Ho Ko last week. How did he do? That's such a cool name.
It is.
He actually put up some numbers for Atlanta. If you look into it, he's put up some numbers for them. He's a rising kicker.
Yeah, man. I think when the fantasy show gets talking about kickers, it might be time to wrap it up, fellas. Any must starts or you know what? Just because of this fantasy show, who's the number one defense to start this week? Who you guys starting at defense, or if you're playing dailies, who's the defense that you guys should look out? Maybe try to steal off the waiver wire.
If you have the Bills defense, you need to start them right now. As I am speaking, go on your fantasy app, do whatever you do on the computer, and put the Bills as your starting defense if you have them.
Yep, totally agree with that, and especially Sam Darnold's coming back. off of that injury for a short-term injury, and we all know how the so-called offensive guru over there, the Jets front office likes to call Adam Gase there. But we all
guru. Yeah.
we all know that Buffalo has a very favorable matchup, and their defense is definitely due for a bounce-back game because lately they haven't been up to par defensively against playoff caliber teams. This is the week that I think they get their self-esteem back, they get their ego back as a defensive unit.
Good point. You got anything coming up, Sean, that you want to shout out? People should stay tuned to the YouTube channel or to the Instagram page. Any interviews or segments you plan on doing?
I'm going to break down the World Series here between the Dodgers and Rays that's coming up. I'm going to have something Monday night. I'm going to have another guest on my show who's a former New York Giants running back. I'm going to have David Wilson come on again. So stay tuned for that as well.
What about you in the Keep It 100 podcast, Jordan? You got anything cool coming up people should stay tuned for?
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to some of the episodes, I have done some amazing interviews. I actually had a Amazon bestseller, Anne-Marie Cummings, coming on to Keeping It 100. We did that last Sunday, so that's definitely something I'd check out, especially if you're a younger person looking to either reinvest or not reinvest, but like retire, plan for that stuff. I definitely check that out. Very entertaining conversation. And most of my episodes that I do with a lot of guests, I've had Andrew Lentz, Matt Johnson from the 2 Point Conversation podcast. Shout out to them. But if you're looking for not only sports, but it's Halloween. Like we're all trying to get those scary movies put together. We're trying to get all those horror Halloween movies put together. I have been running it on the show what's called a horror movie draft segment, where our objective is to cover any horror movie, and this is of different horror movies each time. So you're getting a lot of variety, whether you want the 80s, whether you want the 70s, whether you want the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, today's horror movies, etc. I definitely check those episodes out. We are also planning to have from the Microwave Show, we are having a John Fisher, our X Squad affiliate. Shout out to the X Squad, by the way, at our network affiliate for Keeping It 100. We're going to have him on as well. But just keeping on the grind, keeping on the episodes, and we're definitely got to have a lot of fun as we approach the Halloween season, the Halloween spirits, I should say.
Someone's stuck in a fantasy question real quick. He wants the Dark Lord would like to know who you guys think I can get for Chris Godwin.
Wow, Chris Godwin, you're talking about the second wide receiver for the Patriots. I'm sorry, for the Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Patriots.
The Tampa Bay Patriots, thank you.
Dark Lord, if you can, man, comment what position needs you have, because I'd find the guy who has Cooper Kupp on his team, because I'm a guy personally looking to get rid of him. I'd take Chris Godwin right now. Yeah, what's your position of need? You probably get something for him. Go ahead, Jordan. I apologize.
Oh, no, and I've also got some particular guest show appearances coming up as well. I'm going to be on our other X Squad affiliate, Chica Simone's show on Wednesday. And speaking of Ben Sutters, I am also planning to be on his fantasy draft show Wednesday night as well. So you definitely want to check all those out, and I'll definitely tell more stories for y'all folks.
Yeah, you know what, guy? Yeah, I forgot. We're most likely doing so. I don't know if it's gonna be the same thing, same format. We're doing. He needs a running back. Okay. Who's a good running back that you can get for Chris Godwin?
For Chris,
he's more of like an investment guy, right? Like, because you never know he's gonna go off, because he's been kind of like. Maybe Justin Jackson, a guy like that. A guy who's like in a start. Get a guy who's in a starting position right now because of an injury, who may just become like a
See, I don't know if you take Justin Jackson. I mean, when Austin Eckler comes back, he's definitely going to be the starter.
Yeah.
If you're looking at like more like number one RBs, I guess you could look at let's see. I would consider.
I'd probably start thinking guys who's go ahead.
Rattle off a name. I'm gonna go take a look at James Robinson. I'm not gonna say don't go after him right away, but take a look at James Robinson. See what he does this week. See if his numbers pick up. Who's another guy that you could possibly go after?
Hmm.
Look at Chris Godwin's numbers too, real quick.
Maybe it's really really interesting.
Because in my head, I'm low on him, but I know he can. Oh, yes, fuck, he's actually way better than I thought.
Oh,
But you need a running back. Well, I mean, he had 10 week 1, week 3 he had 14, and then against Green Bay last week he had 7. But they're also adding on Antonio Brown as a weapon, so like he may lose some value in that. It's tough, man. I think I'm trying to think of a running back's like worth his value. Maybe David Johnson. You probably get. Yeah, David Johnson's a guy. I feel like maybe be fair in value.
maybe I don't know if this could happen. Perhaps maybe even Miles Sanders.
Yeah, some Miles Sanders. Maybe try for a guy like Todd Gurley. He's kind of been inconsistent. You know, he has decent games and not so decent games, but he's not doing terrible.
Maybe even Kareem Hunt, because here's the thing about Nick Chubb. Yes, he'll come back from injury eventually, but do you it's kind of the same thing how I feel about the Christian McCaffrey situation. You're definitely at least going to see split ships when Nick Chubb comes back. So there's definitely opportunities for Kareem Hunt to get some action out there.
For the long haul, Eckler, Ronald Jones, or James Robinson. Ronald Jones is killing it this year.
Ronald Jones.
Yeah, Ronald Jones for me.
Because they have not played Atlanta yet. So I gotta invest all my time in Ronald Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He gave me some big eyes, David Johnson. Yeah, I mean, what? Listen, once AB's active in that offense, I'm not so sure. I don't know how often Chris Godwin's going to see the ball. Maybe certain plays designed for him. Maybe I was like big slot plays. I'm not sure, but like David Johnson, like you kind of know what you're gonna get with him. Like I'm looking at his numbers right now. The past since week 3, it's 11, 10, 11, 13. Not like sexy numbers, right? But you know you're gonna get. You know you're gonna at least hit 10 fantasy points. And with Chris Godwin, now that AB's if entering the lineup, you don't know what you're gonna get with him. Maybe wait it out. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap it up. Our show, or our channel, I should say. Now Sean's with us. Shout out to Sean Kernan. Definitely stay tuned for him. A big baseball guy, very, very knowledgeable, and actually all sports though, football, basketball. He actually, you're an announcer for basketball, which is pretty fucking sweet. Myself, I'm big on basketball, football, really, really big on MMA. If you guys like MMA, I just had a recent podcast come out with an MMA fighter. Her name's Nadia Kasim. She has comparisons to Mia Khalifa. We got to ask her about that and more. That was pretty fun. I have that. I have Kevin Lee, Glover Quinn. Man, I'm all over the place with as far as like interviews go, but we cover sports across the board. It's Speakeasy Sports. Check us out. We're kind of funny too, man. Like I'll get a guest on the show like her, and I'm not scared to ask her about her porn star comparison. So definitely check that out.
And I will say this, you fine gentlemen, you are more than welcome to come on to Keeping It 100, and we can both tell stories on there just to tease the audience a little bit.
So another one snuck in the Dark Lord. Who'd win this trade? Mark Ingram and Mike Davis for Montgomery and Jared Cook. Like the guy who gets Mark. Fuck. The guy gets Mark Ingram and Mike Davis, probably, right?
I think Montgomery probably. See, Montgomery, I think, is probably at least one of the strongest players in this deal. The thing about Mark Ingram is, sometimes I don't know if he's going to be running the ball or if Lamar Jackson's going to be doing it himself. So that's that. I'm taking that into consideration. Mike Davis, again, you've got the whole, once Christian McCaffrey comes back, there'll definitely be that, that splitting of carries. Jared Cook, let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up Jared Cook's numbers because I think that's like for me, it's probably, go ahead and speak on it then, Sean, because I'm going to look up Jared Cook's numbers while you're talking.
Now, when you think of Mark Ingram now, because that's one of the key things that Baltimore struggling with in their backfield. They haven't got a lot of consistency out of Mark Ingram and the rookie J.K. Dobbins. So that backfield is actually really in question mark for me because it seems like, Lamar Jackson is doing most of the running for that offense anyway.
Yeah.
So it feels like he's being the RB1 as the QB1 as well. So I'm not the biggest fan of getting Mark Ingram in that deal. That's like
I would definitely keep Montgomery though. I think he's the strongest player out of all those 4 players right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, like also like the value part in a good tight end, or like at least a consistent tight end in Jared Cook, like because you can't just go on the waiver and pick up. You never really know what tight ends, what the hell they're going to do a lot of times. And Jared Cook's one of those guys who they're pretty consistent. He's going to give you something. So I probably if I don't know which side of that trade you are, but I'm probably hanging on to Montgomery and Cook. My opinion, that's my take on that one. But shit, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button. Fuck with Keeping It 100 podcast, and be on the lookout for Sean's first video too. Do a baseball. He's got Montgomery and Cook. Keep those guys. Keep those guys, or ask for more. If you're thinking about taking those guys, get somebody else too. But or at least keep Cook. I don't know. But yeah, subscribe. Check us out. Stay on the tune for Sean's baseball video, the MLB World Series. Yeah, you picked the Rays in that one, right?
Yeah, I had the Rays in 7. So
good choice. Good choice. I had the Rays 7 too.
Yeah. And then I had this platform too, this streaming platform I just downloaded just to do this too, Sean. So I could probably give you the login to that if you ever want to go live with Jordan or whoever else to talk baseball. Same way we did fantasy tonight.
Oh, I love baseball, man. I'd love to talk with you.
Awesome. I'm a huge Yankee fan, man. So I'm
oh no!
But I'm not.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not one of those Yankee fans. I promise you that. Don't you
not
worry.
One of those Yankee fans.
I'm not. Trust me.
I'm not that kind of girl.
I know my. Don't you worry. I'm not one of those a-hole Yankee fans. I'm a realistic fan. I know.
Okay.
I will say that about Sean. Sean keeps it 100. Nice little plug there, but Sean keeps it 100 with he's very knowledgeable, bro. He knows the way I discovered Sean, and I was like, fuck, I need this guy on the team. He was talking about you took him baseball, but he was talking about like third string guys, guys no one else would really know about. And I was like, this kid knows his fucking sports, man. I need that. I need that guy on my team. When's the next live stream? We're gonna be joining one. I don't know if you guys are coming on Wednesday. BS3 Radio's hosting one, but we're for sure gonna be here next Saturday. I'm thinking 8 p.m. Eastern. If not, just like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel because it'll tell you. You'll get the notification. These guys are going live. I'm aiming for 8 p.m. I will say though, it is my son's birthday next weekend on Halloween. So
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thanks, man. It was my son's birthday, but I will still tell him because he's the shit. Hell yeah. So yeah, that might be pushed back to 9 depending on how everyone's feeling. But yeah, but Wednesday we are doing one for sure on BS3 Radio. Just type that in on YouTube and then hit the subscribe button. But fellas, thanks for taking the time coming on. I had a great show, had a great time. Maybe next time, hey, we'll try some structure. But I really like interacting with the fans too. I think that's really dope about going live and doing these.
Yeah, I must say the fan participation, I will say for everyone that's listening in, you guys are definitely making our day. You guys are giving us the hard, heavy questions. So keep them coming, and we'll keep it 100 with you when we answer these questions.
Yes, sir.
100%. But as for that, it's your boy Easy from Speakeasy Sports, and I'm out.
Peace.
See ya.